I'm so excited to be here, you guys. I think I was scheduled to speak in May of 2020. So I've been kind of thinking about you guys for the last 2 years. I mean, not like constantly, but it's in the back of my mind. So I'm excited that I'm here to share with you. I'm excited that it will be out of my mind now, and I can move on emotionally. So yes, I have a husband, and I have, let's see what's going to happen. Oh, there we go. Those are my 5 kids. So they did this as a surprise for Christmas. They went to JCPenney, which is hilarious, and they had these pictures taken. So my youngest is 9, and my oldest is 18, and then there's some boys in between. So this year I have kids at 3 different schools, because I think I've told you before, I outsource a lot of stuff, and one of them is my children's education. And my oldest is going to SPU this fall, which is super exciting, mostly because high school, as for most high schoolers, has been garbage, a giant garbage heap. Horrible. And it's just like it is what it is. People who grew up during World War II, I'm sure high school was garbage for them too, so it's no one's fault. But I'm excited that she gets to have, hopefully, gets to reset her life. How about that? It's going to be great. So I've been parenting for quite a long time. I started parenting when most of the girls over at that table were in high school. And I cannot believe that they are old enough to have babies. It feels like it's scandalous. But it turns out that, they're super old enough to have kids. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. I'm no longer a young mom. There's nothing about me that is young. But as I look back in the last 18 years of parenting, one thing that I'm really most grateful for, and so interesting, because Becca was just talking about this, is the friendships that I made while my kids were little. There's something about those friendships that were different from the ones I had before I had kids, and they are different than the ones that I have with women that I met through my kids being in grade school and secondary school. There's an intimacy that we have together that was cultivated in the midst of chaos and sleep deprivation and figuring out together how not to mess up one of the most important things that we will ever do, which is being a mom. So before I spend your valuable time this morning talking about something super fun and practical, it's kind of like this talk is like a little bit of Jesus and then a whole lot of practical. So I'm adding the Jesus part so that you guys are like, that was worth my time. But I want to start by encouraging you to do the work that is required to have deep, intimate friendships with the women both in this room and the women that you know outside of this room who are in the same stage of life as you are in. So, and as you know, and as you experience all the time right now, is that prioritizing anything other than your immediate family, it takes a lot of work, doesn't it? It takes a lot of it. It's so much more difficult than it was before you had kids, and it's way more difficult than when your kids don't require as much of you. Having a deep, intimate friendship, it requires sacrifice and commitment, but let me tell you, almost 20 years out from starting this, it's worth it. So here are a few things that I remember to being key to making these deep friendships when I was in your stage of life, having lots of little kids. And the first key is that you're going to have to give something up. Really let that one sink in. In order to have a deep, intimate friendship with other women at this stage of life, you're going to have to give something up. Friendship is no longer really convenient. You are required to give stuff up if you want to have that intimacy. So you're going to have to give up naps. I know. If you want to have good friendships, you're probably going to have to give up some of your children's naps. Your kids are going to get sick. Your children will be around other children who have a cough or a sniffle, and it's worth it to hang out with that mom. I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about the regular stuff. All right. You're going to be late. You might not make dinner on time. You're going to eat a lot more McDonald's and pizza than the internet tells you you're allowed to, which, by the way, that's garbage. Feed your kids whatever you want. They're eating. Good job. There were years when the only afternoon naps my kids had were strapped into car seats because I was out partying with my friends. Another key is that you really, guys, you have to delight in your friends' children, which is super duper hard because other people's children sometimes are not delightful. I mean, my kids are amazing. Your kids, they're turds. But I need to, as a friend, be able to find the good in my friends' children. And I need to learn how to express that all the time. So when you're hanging out with your friend, talk about something good about their kids. Every kid has something good about them, even when they're being total stinkers, right? And it also requires you to acknowledge that the kid's being a stinker and making it cute. Like, they're throwing a fit in the middle of Target. Like, sure is good. It's so good that they're cute, right? Or something like that. But in order to have good, intimate friendships with people, you can't be critical of their children. Swallow it and find something amazing to talk about. When you see that kid, say, hey, and say their name. I'm so glad to see you. Invest and delight in your friends' children. And the third thing is, the key is to invite people into your circles. So I want you to think like a Young Life leader. Now, I know nothing about Young Life, but when I was 20, I went to the informational meeting about being a Young Life leader. And what I remember them saying is, as a Young Life leader, what you do is you invite students, you invite kids to do stuff with you. You never do anything alone. And I was like, all right, well, that makes sense. And that means I'm not going to be a Young Life leader because I like doing things by myself. But I want you to think like a Young Life leader as you enter into friendships with other women. So again, their goal was to never do anything by themselves. You do the same thing. Are you going to a park with your kids? Invite someone. Even if they say no, keep inviting them. Are you going to the play place at McDonald's? We spend a lot of time at McDonald's. That's one of my main examples. Are you going there? Invite someone. Invite someone along. Are you making a slip and slide in your backyard? Invite someone. Invite. Even if that girl keeps saying no, keep inviting her. Everyone wants to be invited, and everyone wants to be included, correct? We all want to be invited, and we all want to be included. Well, that requires for you to invite and include. And most of all, love your friends and their partners and their children well. So Colossians 3 says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, with kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So that's my prayer for all of you as you enter summer. Go invite some girls along with you. Everywhere you go, invite them along. Okay, now we're moving to leaning into summer and into the practical part. I was raised by an Enneagram 7, if you know anything about the Enneagram. If you don't, it's fine. What it boils down to is that my mother was, and still is, an absolute fun machine. Her main priority in life, and especially as a mother and as a grandmother now, was to have as much fun and to facilitate as much fun as possible. And summertime is when this woman shined, because summertime is when you have fun, right? Now, that's as far as I can remember. Like, I'm sure we sat around and did nothing many days, but what I remember from my childhood was the maximum fun that my mom made happen. So we were always doing something during the summer. We were rarely, if ever, home if she wasn't working. She worked part-time and full-time, but when she was not working, we were out having fun. And now it turns out that we did that because we were trying to avoid my dad, who is dealing with his PTSD from Vietnam. But I didn't realize that at the time. So I'm just like, we're so fun. And Mom's like, we're staying away from your dad because he's a stinker. Okay, I love him. He's still a stinker. The moment she got home from work, we were going on the road to a lake, or we were going to the Puget Sound. I lived up in the Seattle area. We went to Wild Waves all the time. We had a membership. It was awesome. Almost drowned in the wave pool. My childhood experience was has been totally warped by my expectations for what summer was like when I was a kid. Okay, I said that wrong. my childhood experience has warped what I think summer should be for my kids. And because I think it should be nonstop fun. I have an enormous amount of pressure on me to make that happen for my kids. And it turns out that not everyone's like that. My best friend's like, I don't care if my kids have fun during the summer. I'm like, well, then put your kids in my car and we'll go to the pool. Like, I can't handle them being home by themselves. So I have this weird inner anxiety that I'm not facilitating the amount of fun that my children need to have an ideal childhood. Like, I'm super rational about all other parts of parenting. Super rational. And it comes to summer, and I become a weirdo about it. So I've put a lot of thought and energy into figuring out how to facilitate the maximum amount of fun for summer. And it turns out that facilitating a fun summer it doesn't just require figuring out the fun. There's lots of other things involved. It requires some work on everyone's part to make it happen. Does anyone else feel the pressure of summer? Some of you who are super rational are like, no, who cares? But some of us, we really feel the pressure. And it's because I see other women on Instagram taking their kids paddleboarding. How do you do that? There's so much involved to take small children to do anything, and you're putting them in the water on a paddleboard? That's amazing. Okay. So on the spectrum, I'm about as laid back as they come. I don't like systems. I don't like charts. I don't follow through with anything in my life. I've started the Gospel of Matthew many times. I still don't know that Jesus has died. You guys, anyway. I don't need concrete plans to make my day go well. That's the bonus of not being super organized, is I don't need a plan to make fun happen. I'm your fly by the seat of your pants friend. If you want to do something spontaneous, I will make it happen with you. And while being spontaneous is really fun, I did recognize a few years back that I needed some sort of structure to my household mornings, especially during the summer, mostly because I was sick at waking up in the morning, because I don't wake up early. Give me a break. Summertime is for sleeping in, especially for me. But I would walk out of the room, and at this point when I kind of had this revelation, we had 7 kids living in our house. And because we had 2 kids in foster care, so I didn't lose 2 kids on the road or something. But I would wake up, and they were just lounging in their pajamas, watching YouTube. And by the way, I hate YouTube. I'm so committed to my children. There's no plot. There's no resolution to the story. I hate YouTube. They watch it all day long. So when I see my kids in this state, when I saw them in this state, I would get super ragey. You horrible sloths. So I figured I needed to find a solution. So I did some serious research on Pinterest and found that most solutions to my problem, which is not being lazy butts all summer, was created by very type A women. Have you guys ever noticed that? Any solution to your problem was created by someone who's not you. And these were women who were already super organized and intentional, and they loved their checklists. And so following a system by these extraordinarily organized people was not going to work for me. So most of the solutions that I found required me to schedule out my entire day. Did you guys do that at the beginning of the pandemic? If you have some older kids, you started scheduling out their day? Because you're well, you're not going to school, so I'm going to do this. That lasted maybe an hour. And I'm like, this is stupid. And then I promptly withdrew my children from school. I'm like, I'm not doing this in 2020. So they didn't go to school the rest of the year. It was awesome. So in an attempt to get us all off on the right foot in the morning, especially during the summertime, I half-heartedly started to use a simple system that I found online called the morning high five. And then after experimenting for a little bit, I'd added some elements to force my kids to get something done in the morning, to work a little bit, so that we could have a fun and productive day. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today, which is how to get your morning started without going crazy. So it is now called, Child, It's Time to Get Off Your Butt. I'm sorry that the word butt is up there. For a lot of your families, it's a bad word. I have older kids, and saying butt is the least of my problems. So what I've discovered is that This system works not only for summers, so you can use this during the school year if and when your children ever go to school, and it also works for all types of working situations. So if you are 100% home all day, it works for you. If you work full-time, this will work for you, and anything in between. So this system will work for you and your kids regardless of what you're working. And everything I'm going to share is in an ebook I wrote that you guys can have for free. So don't worry about like notes right now. Like all of it is included. So you're going to go to that website. This is what you do have to write down. And then when you go to checkout, you're going to use that code GSCC Moms, and you get the whole thing for free. Oh, and I'm like, you guys write it down, and of course, you have phones. That's how old I am. I'm like, write it down. Yeah, just take a picture of that, doy. And then you're going to click the button and then it's going to say like, give me your payment information. You'll be like, what? Just like give it 2 seconds and then it transfers over that you get it for free. Okay, so no pressure. You don't have to write it all down. Let's go. The Child It's Time to Get Off Your Butt system contains 3 parts, my friends. The first one is the morning high five. Second one is morning jobs. And the third one is a breakfast plan. The breakfast plan, I just added it in it because, like, I sell this ebook, so I'm like, I got to add some more meat to this. So, like, who cares about that? But the purpose of Child It's Time to Get Off Your Butt is threefold. Number 1 is to get everyone prepared for the day without your help. Yeah, I know. Okay, if you have tiny people laugh through this, I know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Having little kids is ridiculous. I am so glad my husband's fixed and I never have to do that again. Oh my gosh, I look at some of you, I'm like, are we still getting pregnant? Is that still a thing? God bless all of you. The second thing is that you are going to keep your home maintained. Again, insert laugh if you have tiny kids. And then number 3 is to make you, the household manager, feel more productive. Like, I'm super feminist, and I'm like, dudes should have things to do at home. But, I mean, the reality is I'm running the show because I'm awesome at it. So I'm the household manager. If your husband or your partner is a household manager, awesome. Give him this ebook. Make him do it. That's amazing. So number 3 is really important because I know that when I feel productive, there's a higher likelihood that I will actually be more productive. So the result of the Child It's Time to Get Off Your Butt system is that your people will ideally be ready to leave the house within, say, like 5 minutes of you saying, get ready to leave. Because they're mostly ready to go. They don't have their shoes on, but like they're kind of ready for the day. And at least in the morning, your house is not completely trashed. So in our house, the system means that we can eat breakfast and then actually load the dishwasher because someone has unloaded the dishwasher. The recycling bin starts the day empty, and a load of laundry is started, that type of thing. So let's start building your Child It's Time to Get Off Your Butt plan. And again, if you have tiny people, just remember this. Do this when they get older. Okay. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to create your household's morning high five. This will work for little kids. I mean, except for babies, because, oh gosh. The morning high five is a list of 5 tasks that each person will do every single morning. You're going to create that. So you might have up to 3 charts in your house. And a chart means a piece of paper that you tape on the wall, depending on your household. So you might have a chart for little kids, and you might have a chart for bigger kids, and you might have a chart for yourself. You get to decide how you're going to do this. So let's start with your kids. I want you to think of 5 things that you want your kids to do within about 15 or 30 minutes of waking up that will help them be ready for the day. Okay? If you have a 2-year-old, they're used, forget about it. I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years old, you know, as you go through school. So what are 5 things that you want them to do within, like, but when after they wake up? So the first 4 things will be personal care tasks, and the last one will be a morning job. We're going to talk about morning jobs in a second. So here are some ideas for the 4 personal care tasks for your kids. So you're going to tell them 4 things they need to do when they wake up every single morning. So brush your teeth, get dressed, wash your face, eat breakfast, put your pajamas away, make your bed, take off your night diaper and put it in the garbage. You know, you got a 2-year-old. If the kid's potty trained during the day, they can deal with their own night diaper. So those would be things that you could tell them to do. Now you're like, what are the things? Oh, there's so many options. In the ebook, I give you a whole list of things that you could choose from. Don't worry about it. So as you create your kids' personal care tasks, I want you to think about things that you want them to carry into adulthood. So what are the things that you're like, as an adult, you should know how to brush your teeth? And then, like, the boys will finally get it when they're 16 after you tell them, like, girls don't like your breath like that. And then finally they'll take care of it. But, you know, as you, like, go off into adulthood, what do you want them to remember? Then, if you're really on top of things, you can create your 4 personal care tasks that you want to do upon waking up. So here's some ideas for you. Like, you could say, I'm going to brush my teeth immediately. I mean, there's been years when I don't brush my teeth until, like, 12 o'clock, and I feel horrible all morning. So why don't I just wake up and brush my teeth? I don't know. I also feel much more productive. Sorry to the fellas in here. When I put a bra on upon waking up. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? All right. Wash your face, start your coffee, drink some water, take your supplements, set out your morning reading, put on your shoes, set out breakfast, make your bed. Those could be things that you might want to put as your 4 personal care tasks. So once you settle on your kids' morning high five and your morning high five, you're going to get it up on the wall so everyone can see it. Because the goal of this is for you to use as few words as possible. I want you to talk a lot less to your children than you are right now. And the morning high five is going to help with that. So you can create your own by tracing their hand and making it into a fun little project. Or I have editable, is that a word? PDFs in the ebook that you can use. So once your morning high five is finished, you hang it up where everyone can see it, and then your kids will be wandering around, not doing anything, and you'll say, have you done your morning high five? And they say no, and you say, don't talk to me until you're there, okay? Until you finished it. So here's some important things to note as you're creating this. First, you are the most important factor in the system. So I want you to figure out what keeps you from moving forward as the household manager and the fun facilitator in the summer. What keeps you from being able to move forward? Once you figure that out, determine how your team can keep you from getting stuck. And your team members are the other people living in your house. I know it's the worst team ever, but it's what the Lord gave you. I'm sorry. So this entire scheme is about keeping you productive. Okay? This whole thing is about you. It's not about the children. It's about you. Ideally, your morning high five will address the areas that stop you from making bigger accomplishments during your day, whether it's working or playing, whatever you need to get done. The morning high five will be different for each household. So it's going to look different for me than it is any of you. What's important for you is not going to be important to other people. So for instance, I don't care if my kids make their bed. I don't care. But I do want them to change their underwear every morning. That's a constant battle. The next thing, your morning high five should take no more than 20 minutes in the morning. That's super important. You don't want to drag this thing out. You want to focus on quick wins. We just want it done quickly. So your list is going to be really simple. Ideally, the 4 personal care tasks are going to be the same every morning. So keeping these tasks consistent helps develop habits that they can take into their later life. So like they get into a pattern of like, I wake up and I go pee, which by the way, do any of you have children who like don't think peeing in the morning is important? It's ridiculous. I'm like, do you realize how awesome it is to go to the bathroom? Why are you fighting me so hard on this? I love going to the bathroom. It's wonderful. I look for opportunities while I'm out of my house to go to the bathroom. If I'm going in Costco, should I go before or after I shop? These children are ridiculous. Okay. So I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I get dressed, I put my clothes away, and then I eat breakfast, and last I do my morning job. You want to get them in the habit of those personal care tasks. And again, we want to teach them to do this without you having to harp on them. Because you got to ride these kids enough as it is. We like this morning stuff too, good grief. And last, if you have younger children, don't combine tasks. So don't have like number 1 be get dressed, fold your pajamas, and put them away. you want to break that out. You want it to be as simple as possible for little kids. All right, buckle up, because this is where the magic in the system happens. So remember that the morning high five consists of four personal care tasks, and then the fifth thing is a morning job. The morning job, if planned and executed well, will transform your life because your people will be helping you keep your home maintained. So the morning job is one household task, or chore, if you use that word, that can be completed in 5 to 10 minutes without assistance from anyone, including you. So every morning, each child will have one morning job to complete. That's really small, sorry. The morning job is a chore that they can complete in 5 to 10 minutes. They can do it without your assistance. They can do it well according to their developmental abilities. So the jobs are going to be different for a 4-year-old than a 10-year-old because they have different developmental abilities. It's a chore that can be completed without something else happening first. So what that means is, for instance, I start the dishwasher every night, regardless of how full it is. It rains a lot in the Northwest, so I'm fine wasting water. In the morning, someone empties the dishwasher. I don't have as a morning job fill up the dishwasher, like with the breakfast dishes, because then that kid has to wait for the other kid to empty the dishwasher. Does that make sense? Everyone needs to wake up and to be able to immediately do their morning job. Because if one kid's dependent on the other kid, there's going to be punching. And that's another goal. It's I don't want you to punch each other as much as you normally do. Okay. Oh, whoops, go back. And then a chore needs to, it's a chore or a job that just keeps your home maintained. We're not doing deep cleaning during this time. We're not finishing projects. It's just basic maintenance of your home, so that you don't have to do all the basic maintenance in order to go out and you go to work, or for you guys to go leave and have fun. Again, I have job ideas for your kids too, based on their ages. The most important thing to keep in mind is morning jobs exist to serve you, the household manager. So I want you to think through your morning and figure out what tasks will make your life easier and help you be more productive and keep your home maintained. So think about the areas of your home that drive you crazy. There's things that drive you absolutely mad. Those are the things that are going to be morning jobs. So maybe it drives you crazy when the kitchen garbage is full. Well, then someone's job is to take out the kitchen garbage every morning so that you aren't annoyed by it. Or maybe you need the kitchen floor to be swept in order to feel like you're a functioning human being. Okay, someone sweeps the floor. They're never going to sweep the floor as well as you because you're the best worker in your house, correct? It doesn't matter. It's not going to be perfect. It's just not going to be horrible. We just want them to do a job so that it's not driving us nuts. So you're going to solve your problem by making these into morning jobs. So the idea is for you to outsource the household maintenance work to your children as much as possible, allowing you to accomplish bigger tasks that require an adult's mind. So why am I wasting my time emptying the dishwasher when any of these fools can do it? What the house needs my mind to do more complex tasks, like getting rid of all your junk in your bedroom, that type of thing. That requires my brain. They can't do it. So you have them do the things that you're not needed for. So of course there's going to be limits on how many workers or children you have in your house, their ages, their developmental activities, and how much time they have in the morning. And I'm telling you, fair warning, your kids are going to get to be older teenagers. I don't even put mine in this system. I'm not dealing with them. They're the worst. I mean, I love them. They're so much fun and they're hilarious. If I have to wait for my teenagers to wake up in the morning to get a job done, good. It's an afternoon job by that time. Whatever. You're doing other things for me. You're not doing the morning stuff. So it's okay at any point to give up on your teenagers. They're so close to leaving your house, it's on them at that point. So the more children you have, the more jobs that can be completed, but you also have more messes, right? So if you only have little kids, tiny little munchkins, you're going to have to, of course, do household maintenance. Like, sorry, that's just the lot. It's just the life you live. It's horrible. And kids under 3 are basically useless, but they can certainly start learning how to work. So their morning jobs are going to be pretty fake, and that's okay. So maybe their morning job is like, I don't know, we're going to talk about that, but give them a fake job so they feel like they're involved. So now's actually the time that you're going to build your job chart. So you can create your own chart, or you can use the one that I have in the ebook for you. So what you're going to first do is to make a list of tasks that you need completed every morning. Every single morning, you need these things done. So think of like 2 to 3 that you're like, these have to be done. So for me, every morning, I need that dishwasher emptied. I need the recycling bin to be, like, in the kitchen to be emptied, and I need the family room to be picked up. Like, that's just, for me personally, those things need to happen. It doesn't have to be 3, but it can't be more than the number of workers that you have in your house. So don't make a list of 7 things that you want done every morning, and you've got 2 kids. It's not going to work. You can only have 2. And the next list that you're going to make, so you're going to pencil that into your chart. And then you're going to think about the tasks that you'd like completed throughout the week that maybe aren't daily, but that, like, it makes you feel really good about yourself if those things are done. So like that would be, for me, vacuuming the family room a couple of times a week. Sweeping the kitchen, refilling the toilet paper. I hate refilling the toilet paper. That's, meaning like putting the toilet paper like in the cabinet for when you're going to the bathroom and you need it. Okay. That's a great job for a 3-year-old to do. That's one of their jobs. Once a week, they refill all the toilet paper. Starting laundry, maybe you want that done a few times a week. So then you're going to pencil those jobs in. So keep in mind that your morning jobs chart might not cover all the tasks that you want completed on a daily basis, especially if you don't have a ton of kids. I have 5 kids, and I had 7 kids. We were getting work done, let me tell you. It was amazing. And then the last is, if you have an enormous amount of children, then you get to fill in the blank spots in your chart with tasks that you consider extra. So some jobs for little kids that are kind of fake is like emptying the silverware out of the dishwasher, emptying a room's recycling bin, something like that. Or maybe you tell them, like, you're going to wash this mirror. It's going to be horrible, but they're going to feel like they're working, and that's important. So remember that if you don't have a lot of kids, you're not going to have the luxury of extra jobs. But it's important, like, don't load your kids up on jobs. They need to get their morning job done in 5 to 10 minutes. This is not a big thing. It's something very small. So then once you have your job chart figured out, you're going to hang it up next to the morning high five chart. So you got 2 charts for kids to look at. None of this is fancy. I had my charts up with a piece of paper taped to the cabinets with blue painter's tape. Everything should be hung up with blue painter's tape because it doesn't ruin anything. There you go. And then you're able to change it out every season. So I change mine out in September for school, and then I make a new one for May for the summertime. Here's some important things to consider as you assign your morning jobs. A morning job can be the same every day, or it can be different. It's totally up to you. I think it's kind of ideal for kids to have 3 to 5 different jobs that they do throughout the week. It keeps people from getting bored and making shortcuts, because if you tell one kid, your job is to vacuum on Monday, and then another kid has vacuum on Tuesday, the same job, we're all going to know if the Monday kid didn't do their job well. But if that kid is always vacuuming, he's going to figure out how to do as little as possible without you noticing. They're all evil in their heart, believe me. And it also, doing multiple jobs, it helps them understand that, like, running a household is complex. There's lots of different parts to it. Next, everyone does their morning job, even if it doesn't need to be done. So you never let a child off the hook with their morning jobs. Never. Unless they're sick, like legit sick, or they're, like, not there, they're going to do their morning job. So even if like their job is to empty the recycling bin and there's like 3 pieces of paper in it, I don't care. Empty the recycling bin. You don't get out. Because otherwise, they figure out a way to kind of try to talk you into not doing it. Because remember, their main goal is to do as little as possible for the rest of their lives. So we have to stand firm. I think the Bible talks about that. You must stand firm in the face of these children. So If you tell your kid that they need to refill the toilet paper rolls, they need to know that you want 3 rolls of toilet paper in there when they do it. So they don't get to walk up and go, well, there's 1 in there, and walk away. You're like, well, I'm going to need more toilet paper throughout the week. So you tell them, I need this many toilet paper rolls, and they have to do it. So the goal of morning jobs is for you to rarely have to do that task again. It's pretty awesome. If a kid is gone on a particular morning or they're like legit sick, then you just skip that job. Like, it's just not going to happen today. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to follow up with children after 10 o'clock to see if they've done something. Schedule the really important jobs more than once a week. So let's say your bathroom garbages need to be emptied once a week. I might schedule that twice a week in case the kid is sick or there's a lot of garbage or something, again, to avoid you having to do it. With little kids, put numbers with their jobs. This is a big thing that you guys can carry to lots of areas of little kids' lives. You don't tell kids, go clean up your toys in your bedroom. So if their morning job is to clean up the toys in the playroom, that's not going to work. You have to say, go put 10 toys away. That can be their job. Go do 10 things. Because then they can count that, and there's a start and a finish. Only adult women understand when a job is really done. I mean, men too, but really, that's our brains are wired to do that well, to like go into a room and do a task until it's done. Kids need numbers with that. So put 5 toys away in the playroom. Pick up 10 pieces of garbage, that type of thing. The next one is to combine smaller tasks on a non-school day. That's okay if you have older kids. So you want the job to be done in about 10 minutes. So if it's going to take them, you can give them 2 5-minute jobs during the summer. So maybe they empty the recycle bin and they sweep the kitchen floor. Now, it would take you about 7 minutes to do that. If they were being diligent, it would take them 10 minutes, and it might take them 30, but that's their choice, okay? Maybe they can start a load of laundry and refill the toilet paper, or water your plants outside and take out the kitchen garbage. That's okay to combine those. I don't pay kids for morning jobs. I don't pay them to do this particular work. I am all for paying children. I think I've talked to you guys about the importance of paying your children to do stuff. But the morning job is you just do it because I told you to do it. It teaches our kids that you're a part of a household and you're going to help make it run. It's their daily contribution to the home. And plus, I don't want you to have an additional layer of figuring out, did the kid do their jobs? Did they do them well? How much should I pay them? Don't do that. They're just going to do the job. And the morning job is probably not going to be the only thing your kids do during a summer day. They're going to do other work. It's just not done when they first wake up. And you're going to have to train your kids how to do that task. So the first week of summer, for instance, or you guys can do it right away if your kids are not in school, you are going to train them how to do each job. And they're going to be like, dang it, Angela, this sucks. This is so much work. I hate teaching my kids how to do stuff. I'm like, you should just know intuitively how to clean this toilet. But you're going to have to train them the first week. And then the second week, you're going to have to tell them over and over to do their morning high five, do your morning job, and you're going to have to check up on them. But after a couple of weeks, they're going to know what to do. They're going to know how to do it to your standards, what you think a child should be able to do, and they'll be able to do it without you even being a part of it, other than telling them it's time to do your morning job. And the last thing is to assign yourself a morning job, if you want. I don't care if you don't, but if you want to be super productive, go for it. I think that helps me if I have a job to do that, I'm showing the kids that, yeah, I'm in this too. It gets me going in the morning, that type of thing. If you need that, go for it. So here's a chart of what it looked like in our house 4 or 5 years ago. So starting on Sunday. So what you do is you say, okay, on Sunday, what does our day look like generally? So on Sunday, generally, we have to get up and go to church. And back then, we went to church at 8:15. That's crazy. Now we go to church at 11:30, and I'm still like, oh, it's so early. So on Sundays, at this time, we had to do really short jobs because we didn't have time. And then during the week, we have lots of time because it's summertime. And then on Saturday, So you figure out like what you have to do. So if you know that you're going to have swimming lessons on Wednesdays at 9 a.m., your morning jobs are going to be really short. Or you go, we're not going to do morning jobs on Wednesday. That's totally fine too. But as you can see, like emptying the dishwasher is important to me. Every day someone is emptying the dishwasher. Those are just examples that kind of show you what it looks like. This is important. You need to come up with an incentive for your people to finish their morning high five. The incentive is not money. It is what's the thing that they want to do the moment they wake up that they can't do now until their morning high five is done. So you can't watch TV or watch YouTube until you get this done. You can't play on screens. You can't go outside. That would never be one for my children. That would be like the worst punishment is to go outside. You can't read your book. Doesn't that sound horrible? It's fine. Use whatever you need to get this done. You can't read your book until you get your morning high five done. You can't go on Instagram. That's for the older kids, right? Or you can't go on Snapchat until your stuff is done. And then you should give yourself a reward as well. So once you finish the things that you want to do every morning, what do you get to do with your kids? So the last component is a rough plan of what your people are going to eat in the morning. My children eat whatever they want. I want nothing to do with it. They can eat whatever garbage cereal. I could not care less. I think 3 of my children don't eat breakfast in the morning. I don't care. When you're hungry, you're going to find some food. So if you would like to make a breakfast plan, because you're like, I'm an awesome mom, you should make a breakfast plan. So in general, it would just look like if you need to have some sort of a schedule for what you're going to eat, if you want your kids to have variety, is you could make kind of like every Tuesday morning, we eat yogurt and fruit. Every Thursday, we eat eggs or whatever. Again, I just can't care. I don't care about breakfast. I don't care about most meals, but, there you go. So at this point is when I abruptly stop with no conclusion at all, and I say, it's time for your table, all that kind of stuff. But I want you guys, what are we doing with this? Oh, those are my kids. We went to Disneyland. We go to Disneyland every 5 years. Someone told me in like a talk like this, they were like dissing Disneyland. They're like, we had so much fun. I never took my kids to Disneyland. We went on road trips, and they never missed anything. I'm like, well, yeah, it's because they didn't know how awesome Disneyland was. And I also don't think you never, ever need to go to Disneyland. I don't remember a single vacation my family ever went on. We went to Disneyland one day, on Christmas Day, and my parents turned around and walked out and got our money back because we couldn't move. So that was fun. That was our big incentive. We were driving down to my grandfather's funeral in Sun City, Arizona, and they're like, but I'll take you to Disneyland. We didn't go to Disneyland. The other vacation we were supposed to go on was we were supposed to go camping in the Olympic Peninsula. What we did on day one, we drove around the entire Olympic Peninsula and went back home that night because my parents were fighting so much. It was awesome. My childhood was amazing. Oh, my dad gets paid a lot of money from the VA for his PTSD. Don't worry. He's doing just fine. So yeah, we went to Disneyland. Do you guys know how much you get on 100% disability from the VA? It's so awesome. Whenever we go out to eat, I'm like, Dad, you're definitely paying for this. I'm not paying for another thing in my entire life. Okay. It's totally fine if you don't go to Disneyland, by the way. Your children have magical lives. Don't they? Gosh, if they have parents who are like nice and feed them, they're doing great. Okay, so what you guys can do is text me any questions about anything. I will tell you that through tonight, Old Navy has 50% off swimsuits. This is your last chance to get a swimming suit for your children. And I will tell you, if you think that your daughter does not need a swimsuit because she still fits in her one from last year, you're wrong. Because all the chlorine and stuff stretches those things out, and like the first part at the pool, I can always tell when moms haven't bought their girl swimsuits. I'm like, they're saggy and stuff. I'm like, get that girl a new swimsuit. So through tonight, all swimsuits are 50% off at Old Navy. So, and they're not going to be on sale again. They're going to be gone. Halloween's coming out real soon. And And the second thing is you can get $10 off a $40 Cat and Jack clothing purchase at Target through Saturday. And their clothes are already cheap. So there you go. You can stock up on that. So what do you do? Like if it rips, you walk in with the parents? Do I have to keep my receipts?
No, use your card.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have an app. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes. That's amazing. So clear your schedules. First, you're going to hit Old Navy because that ends today. And the selection in the store is garbage, so you have to order them online. And then I have a yearly rant that I'm going to give you during the question and answer session. Becca, I'm finished. I know you're supposed to land the plane well. I didn't.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. We got a lot of really good practical advice.
Yeah. Well, during your discussion time, I was texting with friends about mammograms, and then one about she's getting ready for colonoscopy. So, that's what you have to look forward to. Oh, I'm like, so what questions? I have them in my text. Okay. Okay, so I am going to show. Can you put my slides back up? Someone wants to see my calendar again. I feel like it's a little unfair for me to show you that calendar because I had so many workers. No, okay. Okay, no problem. All right. Do you do evening jobs for kids too, or do you only do morning jobs and high fives in the mornings? I only do the morning. Kids will do jobs throughout the day that I tell them to do, like, hey, take the garbage out for me, or everyone pick up 10 things in the dining room or whatever, because I feel like I can manage that. It's the morning part where I'm trying to accomplish something. And it's for me to avoid the feeling like I'm dragging kids to get ready and dragging them to do just a minimal amount of work. And then we have to do these things before we can go do that awesome thing. And they act like they don't want to do the awesome thing. You know what I'm saying? And so it's at least you guys are presentable and the house isn't completely trashed. So I feel like I can manage more the afternoons and evenings with them. There are people who do evening high fives, and I think that would be a really good idea, especially for little kids, that you want to train them how to get ready for bed in the evening, what they need to do. I'm amazed that these people can't figure out what to do to get ready for bed because it's actually the same every single night. And it really takes about 3 minutes. I'm not requiring a lot of you. Again, they're just the worst. I mean, I love my kids. They're awesome, but seriously, good grief. What are my favorite spur-of-the-moment summer activities? This is good because I wanted to talk to you guys about the magic of memberships. Okay, so this is my problem. I want to go do fun things, and the cost of things makes me unravel inside because I'm not a huge spender on stuff. So hey, it would be super fun to go to the zoo. And then I look up how much it's going to cost to go to the zoo. And then I'm they're going to cry. Someone's going to cry. Someone's going to have to do this. It's not going to be worth my money. How busy is it going to be? Is it worth all of that? And then I just stop functioning. So the great thing, instead, what I've done, and I'm in the financial position that I can do this, is that I have paid for a certain number of memberships to things that I think my kids will kind of like to do. And that removes the decision for me. I'm trying to not have to make as many decisions as possible. So if I'm like, okay, by the way, the Oregon Zoo is super expensive right now. So that's a bad example. OMSI is a better one. So what I do is we have an OMSI membership. Therefore, I don't have to evaluate if it's worth it or not because I've already purchased it. So I'm like, oh, we get to go for free. It's all a mind game to me. I'm trying to trick myself into doing stuff with the kids. So it's a mind game, it's free, and then also I'm not worried if we want to go at 2:30 and it closes at 5. It's okay if we're only there for an hour because it's free. So we have a membership to the pool. I mean, the amount, am I going to spend $70 to go to the pool? Because they're going to ruin it for that $70. But since we have a membership, then I'm like, we can go for 45 minutes. We can go all day. If we show up and there's 1 million people there, we can leave. So that just, again, it removes the decision for me, and then it takes an obstacle out of my way. So I think when you have little kids, really one of the best memberships is OMSI because they have that playroom upstairs. And it's not terribly expensive. And you can go, and it's all self-contained. They can't leave the room, the giant room. And I found that I could sit in one spot, and then they could play around me. Because my whole goal in life is to sit. I don't play with my kids. I don't get in water. Do you know how much work it is to take off a wet Land's End swimming suit? There's times when I'm like, to my husband, I'm like, I need you to help me take this off. And he's like, gladly. I'm like, no, it's just stuck. It's actually stuck. So I don't like to get wet. I don't like to play. I don't like to be hot. But I do want to facilitate fun, right? So OMSI's a really great one when you have little kids. My kids are too old to go in there now, and it's kind of like, yeah.
So if you have an OMSI membership, you get into the Gilbert Museum, they live for free.
Oh, nice. That's good too. Yeah, if your mom's like, what should I get for you? OMSI membership. And so then what we've done is we have the friend membership so that I can bring my kids' friends with them. So that's another key for making our summers fun is that we rarely go anywhere without someone else's kids. Because number one, my kids will fight less, and the other mom will get to have the time by herself. No one my age wants to hang out and do play dates. It's did someone just, I have a 9-year-old, and so when they're like, it's a birthday party, I'm like, oh, please tell me I don't have to go. So, and you're I like other women, but I like giving the other mom a break, and then, I'm the awesome person, right? Because I took their kids along with me. So we have a friend, we add the extra friends or something to our OMSI membership. So, if I, again, rarely go out and do anything without other kids. And as your kids get older, then they'll want to do that thing more if other kids are there. So the magic of memberships, that is awesome. Okay. Do you take your kids to multiple different schools? How? Yes, we're crazy. So right now our kids are at 3 schools. Next year will be 4, but the other one's at SPU, and she's on her own. So when our kids were at 2 different schools, 2 private schools, my husband and I both work from home, so we just took them. Now my 16-year-old drives, so he takes one of the cars. So it's a pain. But our 3rd kid is going to Barlow next year, so the school bus can pick him up. Does that help? I don't know. A lot of our hows are because my husband and I work from home, and we're flexible that way. It tips on being flexible and spontaneous when it's not in your nature. Great question. And what I know about being spontaneous and flexible is that you really have to, if it's not in your nature, you plan on spontaneity. You plan for it. So it feels like you're being spontaneous, but you're really not. You have planned for it to happen. So if you want to be a spontaneous giver, you need to have planned to give before the need arises, right? So I need to have that money in my budget already set aside and then wait for the opportunity that comes, because it will come. So planning to be spontaneous with activities would look like the time that you're at home, when you're just chilling, you think through, what will keep me from doing the spontaneous thing? If a friend calls and says, let's go to the park, what will make me not want to go? Other than like, I don't like doing things. It would be like, well, my house is trashed. Okay, do the work ahead of time to kind of pick up your house. It will be like, I won't know what to feed my kids. Okay, well then maybe you have lots of snacks on hand. And then ask spontaneous people how they do it. So how I do it is I have an enormous amount of snacks in my house. And like when I was younger, I used to super judge women with teenagers who went to Costco and just bought open and eat food. Like, okay, I'm sorry, we're geniuses. Because then when we are ready to go, if I'm invited to go do something, I grab a ton of food, shove it in a bag, and we go. So you're thinking as a planner, oh my gosh, I mean, she must have woken up super early and made everyone their own sandwiches and did all this stuff. I'm like, no. We are grabbing junk, shoving it in a bag, and getting out of there. We eat lunch. We eat fast food. Not a lot, but like if we're out and people are hungry, I will drive through the fast food line. Again, I have the money to do that. I don't want you to like go into financial ruin over this. So what can you do ahead of time so that you're more prepared to do that? Another thing is that I do have bags ready to go. So we have a swim bag, and all of our pool stuff is in that bag ready to go. We have a sand bag so that I know if someone calls and says, do you want to go to the river? I'm like, oh, that's going to take a lot of work. I can do it. Yes, because I already in May had everyone try on their life jackets. So I know that I have life jackets. And if I don't have the right size right now, then I can be looking for it for summertime. I have our sandbag ready to go. I know what I need to bring. So I'm spending the rainy part of the spring getting ready for that. Hopefully that helps. But really, how do you get ready to be spontaneous? You just force yourself to do it. And grab a $10 bill, and you're going to go through McDonald's, and everyone's getting a hamburger. And you're going to go have fun. We're going to do it. Okay. Okay, my Facebook group name. Okay, the group, you guys, like, I'm the worst blogger, influencer of all time. I just, like, spend my time in one Facebook group during the year, and then another one for Christmas. So if you look up legit online deals, you should see my face with a different haircut and like 30 pounds lighter, because last year I had sudden onset anxiety and I couldn't get out of bed. So I started taking meds because they're awesome, and I've gained some weight, which is, by the way, Jesus and I decided that we'd rather have me be happy and heavier than unable to get out of bed and thin. And I mean, you know what I'm saying. So if you get to like your 40s and you're like, where did this anxiety or depression come from? It's because of perimenopause, and go get yourself some meds. I started going to a therapist, and he's like, give me these strategies. I'm like, I don't have my brain. Like, I'm fine. It's my body going bonkers. So anyways, I'm fully medicated, and it's awesome. So the reason I said that, legit online deals. What do you do about kids that don't complete their chore or high five in a timely manner? They can't do the fun thing. So there's something that your kids want to do when they first wake up. They can't do that until they get their high five done. And you will have to tell them so many times. And in a time, again, like it could take 3 hours to do the 15 minutes worth of stuff. That's fine. You're not going to play Minecraft. Now, for some of you're like such good parents that you're like, we don't really have a great carrot. Add the carrot to your day. Let them start playing on screens or something. I don't know. What about the strong-willed kid that refuses to do such stuff no matter what? The kid that says no all day despite the consequences. So in that case, I can't super-duper help on that, because my kids are fairly, like, just naturally, I don't want to say obedient because that's not the right word. Like, they're not like that. So I'm not going to be an enormous amount of help, but I would say there's something developmental going on with that kid, because sometimes it's developmental. I mean, I think Becca was telling me, like, her 5-year-old is just going to say no and throw a fit about it. Well, that's also part of being 5. They throw fits constantly. But when your kid gets to be about 9, they stop crying all the time. So things to look forward to. Then they start crying again in like 14 and it never ends. So again, like, is this developmental or is this like a character quality that you need to like actively work on, and you're going to have to like spend time at home training the kid on how to be, how to do what he's told to do? Or is there something else like physiologically going on that you need some professional help with? It could be any of those things, and I have no idea. But if it's really like, despite all consequences, there might be something else going on with that kiddo that he needs or she needs some additional support. And I don't know what that might be. What? Make it a giant carrot, right? But then the horrible part is then you have to hold on to that. So you've got to figure out what's more, like, is it that you need to win with this kid, which is legit, or is it that your family needs to get out of the house and not be held captive by this kid? That's also legit. Dude, I don't know, you guys. You've got to figure that out. And a lot of older people make our decisions sound so like monumental. I had one man, and it doesn't make any difference who he is, who's older, who said, if you're in the grocery store and you have your kids with you, and of course it was a man saying it, right? If you have your kids with you and they start throwing a fit, you better not give them what they want, and you better leave that store immediately. And I'm like, I'm supposed to leave my cart of groceries right here and leave with the kid. And he goes, if you do it, if you let him get away with it once, it's all over. And I'm like, what? By the way, that's not true. It's never all over. I'm just like, he clearly was never home with children trying to go grocery shopping all day, right? So it's not like the end of the world if sometimes you just have to say, I guess this kid's not going to do their job because I need to take everyone else swimming. It's totally fine. And favorite spur-of-the-moment summer activities. Going to the park. I would like to teach my children how to go on a hike this summer without crying. Because we don't like being outside very much. Inviting people over is really a great spur-of-the-moment type of thing. And what you can do, if it makes you a little anxious, you can say, hey, would you like to come over this morning? Or, come over tomorrow morning to play. I'm going to have some toys out. And then everyone can go home at nap time at 1, so that you have like an end period. Or you could say like, do you want to come over this afternoon? I just need I need everyone out of the house by dinner. And it feels rude for you to say that, but the other person isn't thinking that's rude. They also want to know when the end date or the end time is. So spontaneous works really well when, especially for people who are anxious about it, if they know that there's food available and there's a bathroom available. That makes everyone feel better, right? And then I haven't heard your talk on paying kids for things. Is there an ebook on your website or YouTube video talking about it? I should definitely do that. My biggest idea on paying kids for things is, if my goal is to make them, or to train them to be a successful adult, someone who can be successful in the world that we live in right here, it's best to create a system in my home that mirrors that. So our children are going to leave our homes, and they're going to move into an American culture with capitalist principles where you have to work. And we all know how the world works, right? So let's create that system in our home. So, and also when you're an adult, you know that there's a certain amount of work that's required in my home in order to maintain that. So I'm going to do a little bit of that, morning jobs. You're just going to help me. As an aside, one thing, when you're telling multiple children to clean up a room, like, I need you all to clean the dining room. That doesn't help because you have someone who's a good worker and you have someone who's super lazy. All right, they come out of the womb that way. So instead of saying clean it up, because one kid's going to get stuck with it, the other one's going to go pet a cat for 30 minutes. That happens in my house all the time. I'm like, you're going to clean and you're not going to touch the cat. You're not allowed to touch the cat anymore. So to remove that, I say everyone needs to put 15 things away from the dining room. And then they have to count it. And then I said, did you do your 15 things? So that one kid isn't always getting screwed, right? And then one of them isn't learning great ways to get out of working. Again, they come out that way. I've got 2 or 3 that will look for any reason to not work, and then 2 who are super diligent and who want my approval. All right. I was going to something with that. So, we do work together because we work as, because we're on the same team and household. And then I'm going to pay you for certain jobs. I'm going to look for opportunities to pay you for work. Now, you're going to pay them for work, and they're going to get more money than their work deserves. Because the work that an 8-year-old does is going to be worth like 50 cents. But they can't buy anything for 50 cents. So Dave Ramsey says, you're going to overpay your children for their work in order for them to learn how to spend the money. So you pay them for work, they earn the money, and then they get to use that money to spend on whatever they want. The thing that makes this work only is you've got to stop buying your kids a bunch of stuff so that their money, they can spend it because they know that you're not going to buy it for them. So if we are at Target, I don't buy my kids' stuff at Target. They get their clothes. They're cared for, and they get gifts at Christmas and their birthday, but we don't go and I just buy them a Nerf gun. If they want the Nerf gun, I say, do you have money for the Nerf gun? Now, remember, I overpaid them for the work that they did, but now they can make the decision themselves. So the big thing is, you've got to stop buying your kids stuff. They still get to buy stuff, but they have to go. So my kids their big thing right now is they walk to Plaid Pantry. They walk on Division, and they're still alive. It's amazing. They walk to Plaid Pantry together, and they buy overpriced stuff. I don't pay for that. Now, if they have their friends over, my 12-year-old has 3 friends over, they're like, can we walk to Plaid Pantry? Yes, I want you out of my house. I'll give them $5. So, not a total tightwad. But that really helped. Anyways, hopefully that helps. My daughter's sending me links to TikTok. By the way, the greatest part about having teenagers is you all have phones and you can send funny things back and forth together. And then if they're complaining about something, you can just send a funny meme instead of a correction. It's so awesome. And yes, my kids watch TikTok. They're still alive. Because TikTok is hilarious. Have you guys looked at it? It's super funny. Okay, I think that is it. Does anyone have a quick? You guys are cool? You can email me whenever you want. Find my email. You can text me. You guys want my phone number? Just joking. Oh.
We have had to drag some people off, Angela. Angela's just making it easy on us. Well, Angela.